I mean, today is the day when we had decided that we would be going for this trek to a place called Maldo. Some of our guests, would probably recognize that and would remember it. This is a very beautiful place where the river Kolar actually kind of slows down, from its tumbling, turbulent kind of journey at the initial stages, and forms a very, very beautiful lake. As I have been told, Do means a lake, a collection of water for that matter. And this place, it remains quite inaccessible, except of course by 4x4 vehicles. The road is very, very precariously treacherous. Actually, in most parts, there is no road, and we kind of found this place when we were trekking, and then we actually kind of really, converted the bike and cycle tracks, into a jeepable kind of a road. So this is a very, very beautiful place which is on a hilltop, and it offers a absolutely panoramic view all around of the Vindhyachal ranges, and you can see the water at the lake, so to speak, that Kolar river forms over there down below, and it's absolutely mesmerizingly enchanting. And you can hear the water from where you stand, which is about a few hundred feet above. It's a pretty high spot actually, and I don't know, it's well past noon, should be between noon and tea time right now. That's the beauty of this place. You actually kind of lose the sense of time and days and dates and all. And so it's past noon, it's before tea time. The thing that I was trying to say was that if the time permits, then we would like to walk down, because previously, just a few days back, we came here with a few guests and we were trekking with them, and we stumbled across a very beautiful trail which kind of winds its way along the river, absolutely right next to the river, and kind of leads its way to a village called Mathar. Now, village Mathar is basically something which is more easily accessible, through a jeepable track from Delavadi side of the forest. But from this side, we didn't know there was an access, and we actually kind of, as we were trekking along that day, we met a few people, rather a few villagers and travelers that were kind of walking by, and we asked them where they were coming from and where this trail was leading. And that's when they told us that this kind of goes to village Mathar, and that was something of a surprise, a very pleasant one actually. So we couldn't get there because it was late in the day. I don't think we'll be able to get there again today. It's a bit late again today, but we'll try and see and walk as far as we can, and we'll try to bring you some visuals of what the place is all about. And right now we are driving on a very beautiful tabletop mountain. You can see the valley below. It's actually covered by forest, and this is teak jungle, teak forest, very deciduous of course. And I say very and not just simply deciduous, is because it kind of starts shedding pretty heavily by December, and but still it's a mixed forest also, so there is a lot of green, ample green. So this is like a tabletop mountain, and this is about 8 kilometers stretch of a drive, and then we will descend into village called Khajuri, and very beautiful hamlet, good woodworking community over there. They weave bamboo mesh and a lot of things from bamboo. In fact, they kind of weave magic with bamboo, and in fact their houses are also kind of woven and seamed with bamboo shoots and stuff. So let's see. And the next, of course, once we kind of get off the road, so that I can actually show what kind of approach there is, and actually there is none. So alright, so we left the road about 15 minutes back, and We are now about 8 kilometers from our destination, and we come across a few of these dry riverbeds, and we do need a 4x4 now. It's not just the gradient, you know, it's also the fact that one has to be gentle to the vehicle. This is not the only drive that it's supposed to do. So once you need to go slow and you don't want your clutch to be under pressure, then you do need a bit more power. So it's always advisable to engage a 4x4 so that your vehicle's, you know, safety and its well-being is also accounted for. So this is going to be about, you know, we've done a fair bit now, so about 8 kilometers from our destination, and the road remains treacherous, and I don't think any other vehicle except a gypsy, and I have tried out with a few, you know, friends and a few guests, different vehicles that I believe could try and do this, but we've really come to the realization that no other vehicle can. Thick jungle all around, slightly a little less because we just crossed a village, and that is the last village now till, of course, Mathar, which is about should be I don't know, I saw on the map and I checked and I thought maybe should be about 20 kilometers from here. This access that we're driving on basically would have been, you know, people walking, then carts, bikes, and predominantly the water flowing, because the way I see the cuts on both sides, you know, the roots being exposed, it's not some kind of an earth moving that generally, you know, would be done by people or by hands. This is water, and there's a gradient also, so quite naturally the gradient is where the water flows. One should always remain in the lowest gear that is possible, because if there's one weakness that a gypsy has, that is the clutch plate. Any pressure on it, you know, the clutch and the pressure plates would give way, and middle of the jungle is hardly a place where you would want to break down. There is no cell coverage here. We operate through our licensed walkie-talkies. Again, the undulation that this jungle has, the kind of hillocks that you have all around you, there are only a few places that you do get line of sight even for the walkie-talkies. So whenever we do wish to communicate, we find ourselves a high vantage, and then we try to, you know, make our calls. They are limited, necessitated only by, you know, just to tell them that things are okay. So once you're thinking of going on a trek in a jungle like this, it's very essential that firstly and foremost you should not be alone. Now I'm breaking that rule today, but what you can also do, and you must do, is that sufficient number of people, responsible people and responsive people, are aware of your route and your destination. You need to time your walk, and no matter how tempting it might be, you should not break that. So supposing you have said that you're going to be out for about 5 hours, save and accept, of course, any communication that you are successfully able to make and establish and tell them that you're okay. That you should have people who would come looking. Once you're trekking and once you're in the jungle, once you're on your own, there could be n number of things that can go wrong. It's all good fun, it's fantastic, it's fabulous. All that is only good and fun when one is enjoying all this responsibly. So a lot of preparation goes in. You need to be clad well, you need to have sufficient warm and dry clothing, and we do carry always something which people tend to ignore, and I find that very irritating at times, when I do end up going for treks with people, especially guests of the lodge, is that people tend to really understate the footwear. Now you can't have a kind of a normal footwear or a sports footwear or a light footwear which you say is very comfortable. No, it can't be. Generally the jungle footwear is not always very comfortable. It's pretty huge, it's pretty heavy, and generally what I tend to use is what is used also by the forest department people. It is not very attractive, it's not pretty at all, but it is it's handy, and we have someone walking up good from the local village. But it's strong, it's sturdy, and that's what one is looking for. Secondly, and really most importantly again, is water and nourishment. You need to carry snacks, and you need to carry sufficient amount of water. You need to know how much you consume. More than that, you need to know how much you ought to consume. So for a trek that is about 4 hours that I have planned out right now, I'm carrying about 3 liters of water. Now your backpack can't be a Santa Claus kind of a bag. It needs to have the bare essentials, because you also need to know what you're going to be able to carry. It's going to be on your back, nobody's going to be carrying it for you, and you need to want to not leave things behind. When you're walking, that okay, I can't carry it now, so I'm going to probably dump it. Can't do that. So you need to plan out your ability to carry a certain amount of weight, and that which is absolutely essential to be carried. So a lot of other things which people may otherwise want to carry will probably need to be left behind. Having done that, and having planned well, having informed sufficient number of people, and you shouldn't be alone. Ordinarily, get yourself a good trekking partner, someone who plans and prepares equally well as you would want to, and is a good walker and enjoys being out in the outdoors as much as you do. Then you really are up for a treat. It is absolutely an unmatched feeling to be out in the open, to walk at beautiful places. And right now, winters, I believe, is just about the best time there can be, and we are now at the place where we need to now kind of leave the vehicle. So we'll just kind of drive on a bit further, because that side is the valley where we need to start commencing our descent to the river. And we will see a bit of it from the top of the hill before we start walking down, because I really want everyone to see how beautiful this river can be, and how close to Bhopal. We should be about 50 kilometers at best. All right, so as far as the vehicle can go, because it's also very important, although you're at a place where you don't have people, but you don't want your vehicle to be at a place where it's unsafe. So find yourself a good shade, find yourself some place where you feel the vehicle is going to be safe. And for a vehicle like Gypsy, which is like open, you can't leave things behind. So if it's your backpack and your camera, then you're going to be carrying all of that. You can't leave anything behind. Also, if you've got a cliff or a drop in front of you, you aim your vehicle for trees in front of you. You don't have troublemakers, but you don't want to keep that thought in the back of your mind while you're enjoying your trek, that oh, somebody just put my vehicle on the neutral and push it overboard, or probably accidentally it might happen. So you got langurs, you got monkeys, and they're very curious creatures. So park it well. Funny as it may sound, it's something that which you really want to not think about when you're enjoying your